the Dragon Wars started. This time against the Ezhune-Mortal dragon Zagito, who specifically had a bone to pick with Legend Hero Shigara and was terrorizing the Oblivion Alliance to get the Power of Harvest. That was his whole goal. So, Legend Hero Shigara quickly came out of hiding this time to deal with him. Wound up slaying and actually being the only one to not be found alive after the fight with him. It was the Legendary Dragon, the Ezhune-Mortal dragon Zagito was the only one that Shigara actually ever killed. Legendary Shigara never killed any of the 50 Demon Lords or mythologic. He didn't need to. But for some reason, the Ezhune-Mortal dragon Zagito wound up being killed. Later investigation really revealed that it wasn't actually Legendary Shigara who did it, but the brother of the Ezhune-Mortal dragon Zagito, Zagi, and who had actually killed his brother. Before lying down and more or less dying from his own wounds and passing. The Legend Hero Shigara wound up becoming quite close with Zagi during the fight and was there at the time of passing, and it is believed that he, at the request of Zagi, harvested Zagi's powers as well to make sure to keep the strength going for Legendary Shigara. Although, while that is true, no one actually has any proof of it. It is simply the speculation some have made of, well, he must be trying to actually dismount him, but because Zagi requested it, Shigara did actually do it. So, the part the public does not know is the part that exonerates him. Nonetheless, the Legendary Hero Shigara is known as, to even this day, 50, 60, 70, 80 years later, depending on your world, as a legendary hero, well respected, well honored. Whereas the name of even Myth of the Exile Logic is not spoken, and his fear comes from that. It is a fear, everyone fears that name, and no one dares say it. So when someone does blatantly say it, you often would see reacts of horror, shock, disgust, terror. And it takes quite the guts to do that, culturally speaking. So, when individuals have the guts to say he has no power here, and actually just say his full name outright, people are terrified of that. It is terrifying reactions. Because he was so close to full-on destruction of the Byzantine Empire at the end of the war, that it was very well believed the Byzantine Empire was going to become his entire group of slaves, along with the Gandharian Empire, the other Byzantine species nation on their homeworld that is not a part of the Oblivion Alliance. Think of the Byzantine Empire as your accepting of other species, not arrogance, because Byzantines are, per capita of their species, have the highest rate of conjurers, whereas other species don't have near as much. So you have a couple of split factions of the species. The Gandharian Empire are very fascist-like, proud of that fact, believing they are superior than other species as a result. And the Byzantine Empire of like, yeah, we were very blessed to have this, but we are not superior because of it. Mentalities. So that is a brief overview of the 9 Chaos Clans of old and their their origins, their mandates, along with a little bit of the history of the war. Another thing to make note of is that at that time, no one really knew of the 9 Great Chaos Clans of the War, but the legendary hero Jagara actually was a member of the Venon clan. And even amongst the Venon clan, he was considered a distinguished individual. Each clan has a practice of giving clan names, and when you refer to the Primarchs, they are always referring to the clan name of said individual. What was not known to the general public with Jagara, though, is that he actually had a fraction of the power of harvest he was allowed to have. Specifically, it is the power of Mukazi Prime that was passed down through the generations. Now, no one really knows the identity of Mukazi Prime and Mithrane Prime. They are gender, species, all of that's unknown. No one has really known that knowledge. All the other Primarchs, however, are known, gender, species, and a lot more information about them. But both Mukazi Prime and Mithrane Prime were much more secretive. Much less is known about them individually. They are known for their strengths and what they are capable of. They are the strongest. But their personal, who they were, is a very heavily guarded secret that has been lost to the ages. Mithrane Prime was actually Levitonian and was a male. Whereas Mukazi Prime was also Vitonian, but female. In fact, they were a couple. They were together. They were husband and wife. They, however, were the only two able to actually conjure what is known as Chaos Flame. Probably the most powerful Chaos Energy conjuration technique possible. And it is a flame that is able to continue long after you're dead. It will never go out once you ignite it, unless you are able to fully master it, which not even they were able to fully master. They just had the ability to conjure it. So they had a flame they was able to go around, and it was part of what helped able to seal the original Chaos Beast in the final fight, was that technique. But the two of them, due to their power levels, kept things very close guarded to who they were. As they also had their own techniques that were very powerful, very devastating, and arguably even more so than Chaos Flame. One of which was Mukazi's Harvest, which didn't have... Legendary Jagara only could ever do it by actually walking up and physically touching the individual. Had to actually get close and grab the spark by hand. Whereas an actual Mukazi, anyone with the clan name Mukazi who inherits that, can do it at range or even across dimensions. They don't have to even be in the same dimension. They can do it transdimensionally. And that is a very terrifying power of just simply scrying an individual and then harvesting their spark. It is also possible to do it against, chaos beings and apocalypse beings. And at the end of Legendary Hero Jagara's life, he actually did fight two different heads of the Mythologic clan, who weren't corrupted on their own because they got tired and frustrated of the view and hatred of the Mythologic clan they were having to fight back against, and tried to kill Jagara in retribution. he had no choice but to defend himself. And against the first one, he managed to harvest it, and then the individual, not willing to let it go, charged at him again. Jagara simply opened a portal out of the way, leaving quickly, and at the time, the Logic Clan head, no longer able to conjure Apocalypse being, fell off a cliff to his death. The successor, the Logic Clan head, grew up, wound up actually despising the fact that that happened, and had even more hatred towards Jagara, to the point where Jagara was getting way up there in years, was close to max life expectancy, and was at this point in time elderly, not at the top of his game at all. Found him, fought him. Jagara successfully was able to harvest the power of this the Logic Clan, and however, the injuries from that fight wound up killing Jagara in the process. So he did die from his own injuries, but he also was able to successfully harvest a second Apocalypse before his death. And what no one knew, other than Jagara, when he died, all of those powers that he had harvested, all of his dead, and his power as well, went back to the pool of powers for Mukazi. To the next Mukazi, who wound up being the 1001st generation of the heads of the Vanan clan. And the first Mukazi to be a member of the head of the Vanan clan since Mukazi Prime themselves. Or herself, for those who would actually know. All of the memories of Mukazi Prime, and all the previous Mukazis, and those who had even the fraction as Jagara was allowed to have, all those memories and knowledge and those who've been harvested were involved in that power of Mukazi. And as a result, Mukazi has all of that knowledge, experience, and those individuals, and mindsets, and personalities to draw upon for learning to conjure. So it does not take a Mukazi long to learn this. And as a result, are always been chaos beings, because they're just sheerly an insanely powered individual. Because they basically have this from the get-go. They're born with this title. It depends a little bit on the clan, but as how clan names are passed. But the Vanan clan, it is done at birth. You are born with the clan name if you get one, or you will earn a clan name through your deeds. Legend of Jagara earned his clan name of Zagat through his deeds. He was the first Zagan for the Vanan clan's clan names. And, the current head of the Vanan clan is born in Mukazi. Born with that name, and Apocalypse, and the head of the Vanan clan. They tend to stay silent, and I've got them to where they are human, as well as the current head of the Mythologic clan. However, if for your games you need to switch that up, that's perfectly fine. For mine, it's the reason why Earth is starting to get involved a bit more in the Oblivion Alliance, and it's kind of that tie-in that I've used. But you can switch it up to one, or another individual has something else. You can find ways to incorporate Earth. That's just the one I personally went with. But as it stands modernly, the Oblivion Alliance, has a lot of modern, really even sci-fi like level of technology. They have massive spaceships that can go through space and traverse space. The cyber orcs, the Vitonians, the Minotaurs, the Werebears, the werewolves, and werefelines, and humans are all in the same dimension. All those planets of origin, those species' homeworlds, are in the same dimension, just scattered throughout the universe. And because of the size of the universe, we haven't been able to come in contact with them yet via space. But because of conjuring chaos energy and going through dimensions, Earth's had contact with many of them. That's where we get a lot of our mythology from, is from some contact with them. The Minotaur in the Labyrinth was literally a random guy running into a Minotaur in a labyrinth and then running away. No one, and really, it was a brief moment. But yeah, ironically, that is the ancestor of Zago that happened to be from. So, for another little interesting lore of connectivity that I've done. But yeah, this is the kind of overall world. Earth is starting to become more aware of it, the Oblivion Alliance and other dimensions. How that shapes up in your games is up to you all. For me, what I've done, I'm going to cover here in another video later, but summarize it to say, the Mythologic Clan and the non-clan current heads are the intro I'm using. But yeah, that's kind of the overall lore of the 9 Great Chaos Clans of old. A little bit of the Oblivion Alliance as well, and some of their modern aspects. And the 3 Great Wars that are a key defining historical moment. So, what are your guys' thoughts on this? I'd love to hear. See what you like, what you don't like. What would you change for your games in this if you were running it? I plan on the next video being more about how Earth is coming in and the overall what systems you might run this in and how I've done it. So let me know what you think. As always, hit the like button if you like the video, and let me know whether you think it's good or not. If you want to see more of it, really helps out. Subscribe if you think this would be a thing you'd like to have more of. We got other videos up here. Please, by all means, let us know and see what you think. I'd love to hear more. Get engaged. We'll see what I can do. In the meantime, signing off. I'm going to get back to gaming on my own end. Y'all have fun gaming now.